Welcome to a special edition of BCW Podcast Network, today sponsored by Tompkins Community Bank. Tompkins Community Bank is proud to support the Business Council of Westchester. For generations, Tompkins has helped the communities we serve thrive and grow. As a community-based financial institution, we consider it our duty to provide innovative financial solutions for local families and businesses as they navigate their financial journeys. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer hoping to put down roots or an entrepreneur looking to grow your business, Tompkins is here for you every step of the way. And at the Business Council of Westchester, we're so grateful for Tompkins Community Bank's ongoing support. My name is John Ravitz. I'm the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Business Council of Westchester. We're so glad you're tuning in to this special edition from the BCW Podcast Network. The subject we're going to talk today is one that businesses of all sizes consistently are challenged with, and that's business longevity, which is becoming an increasingly rare achievement. The rise of ever-changing technologies, economic shifts, and changing consumers' behavior presents challenges to businesses striving to remain relevant for the long haul. Joining us today is an insightful panel that will delve into the essential strategies and mindsets needed to help businesses not only survive, but thrive. Our panel of experts will discuss foundations for effective communication, navigating difficult conversations, building trust and influence. And we're really excited today. And one of the things that I just love about the Business Council of Westchester is we have such a broad cross-section of businesses, all of them who have made a commitment to Westchester County, all of them who have created jobs and brought in important revenue, and our panel today is a great example of that. So in no particular order, we want to welcome Christian Baca, who's the owner and operator of Walter's Hot Dog and Walter Hot Dog Trucks, Peter Baum, the partner of PKF O'Connor Davies, Sonia Montano, the Vice President of Montano Wood Care Corp, and Jill Singer, the owner of Jill Graphics. Welcome, everybody, to our podcast studio. So, again, as we talk about longevity, as we talk about the strategies that all of you have to deal with every single day, the communication skills that you need for your employees, the changing emerging markets, the technology that changes almost on a dime. We really want to hear from all of you about how you, again, are dealing with these challenges and issues as you continue to grow your business in Westchester County and the region. So, Gene, let's start with you. What core values or practices have helped Walter's Hot Dogs maintain its unique identity and appeal for over the past 105 years? So when we talk about longevity, 105 years is a pretty good benchmark, but it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not an easy thing to have to achieve.
No, it's definitely not. And, two of those main core values is the devotion to quality and consistency. It's one thing to create a product or goods or services that is different in nature from others and stands out from the competition, but then being able to replicate it day after day, year after year, to have the transferable skills to be able to, from the top down, streamline that to other people to train and to execute that on a daily basis is very difficult. But by doing so, keeping that level of consistency, you're able to get repeat customers time after time, generation after generation, because though the world may be changing and things change, there becomes a reliability factor in that they know what they're getting.
So let's stick with that reliability factor because, people, and the exciting thing about Westchester is we have more people moving in and out. People still need to know the brand and understand what that brand means in terms of giving great services. How have you continued to keep Walter's brand really pertinent and alive in people's minds?
Yeah, the important thing is partnering with the community. So the community involvement's been a cornerstone of our business. So whether it's working with local schools, charities, and local organizations, but working within the community so that people see us not just as a business, but they see us invested in their lives and their community and what's important to them.
Very important. Sonia, obviously businesses, as they continue to want to expand and grow and hire more people, they need revenue. And every year that must be a challenge. And for all of you, and congratulations over the fact that all of you not only survived the pandemic, kept your businesses open, helped people on a daily basis, but now are moving forward. But Sonia, talk about revenue and what it takes to keep that revenue moving in the right direction.
Sure. Well, first of all, I just would like to say that to keep the longevity, it takes a strong foundation, a good understanding of finance and doing a business plan where you plan to grow. One of the things that we have experienced is that if a business doesn't grow revenue, the business risk the longevity and the prosperity. So that's what we have experienced. And the essential is to have an efficient management of all the areas of the business, and as I said, a good understanding of the finance. Then for us, let's say at Montano, it is very important and is priority, high quality service. And we start also by listening to our clients, what their needs are. And then we try to respond to all their demands. And then we see what we can do in order to expand, but having, first of all, priority, customer satisfaction. And to expand and to bring another team, it takes planning, it takes training, it takes having goals to grow, and also having accountability, discipline, and consistency of having the right people with you.
Well, I like the planning and the accountability, and I want to touch on that when we throughout the course of today's episode. Peter, PKF O'Connor Davies is a major pillar in our community. You service businesses across the board, both private and public. Talk to us a little bit about how your firm continues to differentiate in the market to stay relevant and also to fulfill the needs that you do have to do for your clients.
Well, thank you. Let's start off with, 25 years ago, public accounting firms did primarily audit work and tax work, and the percentage of the business was mostly the audit work. As time has evolved, as you mentioned, we had to continually innovate and evolve. And now a very small part of our business is really the audit practice, and a very large part is working with our clients to provide value. In providing value in tax savings, providing value in consulting, and providing value in many other different niches that PKF has kind of emerged into. And to continue that growth, the firm is constantly expanded and asked our customers what it is they need and how can we provide value.
And again, because you have both public and private sector clients, those changes and those needs obviously are very different.
Very different. I would say our business is not just public and private, but we also have family offices, so families, their estates. Okay, so it's more than just public and private.
This is John Ravitz, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Business Council of Westchester. You're listening to a special edition from the BCW Podcast Network. Jill Singer, you are the sole entrepreneur in this panel, but being a solo entrepreneur is exciting, but also very challenging because when you turn to the left and you turn to the right, you're still accountable just to you to make sure your business is moving forward. Talk to us a little bit about those type of challenges and how you have developed the strategies not only to stay relevant, but to continue to grow.
Thanks, John. I would say first and foremost, joining the Business Council has made a world of difference in combating the loneliness of being a sole proprietor. And so for the first two decades of my business, next year is going to be my 40th year, I really was working by myself. And so by joining, I've created a whole business community, camaraderie, amazing friendships and partners that I work with where we can provide feedback to each other. So that's really important as a solo operator. Another challenge is what to outsource. So like businesses hire me for marketing, I think as a sole proprietor, we tend to think we should do everything. And so it's been important through the years to determine what I should hire other people to. Another challenge is if I want to go away, there is nobody behind to do the work. So it's very rare that I'll go anywhere, that I'll go on a vacation without taking my laptop. And it's a downside, but there's plenty of upsides to balance that out. Having a specific expertise in graphic design and marketing, I've needed partners to work with. So Hillary Millman is a great example. We've partnered together, and her expertise and my expertise she does content and messaging. I do graphic design. We've been able to provide clients with superior products because we're both experts in our field. And I would say the last challenge that comes to mind is that even after 40 years, I still, there's still cycles where I'm busy and I'm slow, and I still sweat out the slow times. I think there was a couple of years that I just went with it and knew it was fine. It was going to cycle back. And I imagine it's a similar challenge with bigger businesses. But as a solo, I still get a little nervous.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And again, the fact that you're able to build those relationships and have those collaborations is a testament to the success of your company. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just one moment to continue with this fantastic panel to talk about business longevity.
You're listening to a BCW Podcast Network special edition, a discussion on business longevity. Once again, your host, John Ravitz.
Welcome back to the special edition from the Business Council of Westchester's Podcast Network. Today's topic is an important one, business longevity, and this special edition is sponsored by Tompkins Community Bank. Our panel today is Christian Baca, the owner and operator from Walter's Hot Dog and Walter Hot Dog Trucks, Peter Baum, a partner at PKF O'Connor Davies, Sonia Montano, the vice president of Montano Wood Care Corp, and Jill Singer, the owner of Jill Singer Graphics. For all of you in your opening answers to my questions, you use some important words that I think every business has to deal with, and that's planning. So, Peter, talk to us a little bit about when you're looking to bring in new customers or keep and retain the customers that you have. What are some of the things that you do and the tools that you and your teams use?
Well, as Sonia mentioned earlier, I think the most important thing that we do is listen. Listening to our customers is the most important thing, and it's one of the things that we teach our people as well and try to mentor them is to the less you speak, the more you learn. And listening carefully and then providing value. And value is determined in the eyes of the customer. So it's very important to try to match what you hear to what their needs are and to clarify that.
And I guess it also takes you have to listen to your clients, but then you have to also give them the advice that you think serves them best. So sometimes those don't automatically mesh.
Well, our profession is built on a kind of a concept of the trusted business advisor. And a trusted business advisor, if they're doing their job well, doesn't always give the best news. They give the best news for what the customer needs. And sometimes that is a little bit difficult to tell your customer that it's not in their best interest to do something. But that's why they respect us. And it's that building of the trust over time where we are able to give news which is difficult to understand, but much appreciated.
Gene Walters, as we've mentioned already in this episode, is 150 years in
105.
105. Well, you'll make it into 150. I'm sorry, 105 years. The hundreds of employees that you have hired. Talk to us a little bit about what you look for in an employee, what message you send your employees in terms of how this could be a start of a career path, and talk to us a little bit about the retention of your employees. How long have some of them been with you?
Sure. So that's great because my grandfather, Gene, was the owner of Walters for almost 70 years. And he prided himself being a part of the community and to be able to offer, first job experience, especially to high school or college students, where he could teach them skills that they could apply to the real world. Though we work in a fast casual restaurant, you have to be able to meet deadlines and work as a team and work in a fast-paced nature and multitask and, work on communication skills and verbal and nonverbal. So these are all the types of skills that we look for in someone that we want to be able to gain experience and also to further their career. So it doesn't matter if we're hiring a manager or an entry-level cashier or someone to help with our retail and shipping division. We look for someone that has the qualities that we know that they could work in a fast-paced environment, that they can work as a team, they could work under pressure, they want to be coached, and they want to be able to take on leadership and responsibility to be able to transfer the knowledge that they've gained over the years to other people as well. So we're really proud in our retention rate. Our manager for our Mamaroneck location has been with us for almost 18 years. Our manager who runs our food truck operation, we have 5 food trucks now, has been with us for almost 8 out of the 10 years we've been in business. Our manager in our White Plains location, we've been open 7 years. He's been with us for 4 out of those 7 years. So I think it has to do with they also see myself and my other family members a part of the business. They see kind of the passion that we have, kind of the family, we know how hard our previous generations of family members, what they had to go through to be able to hold on to this business, to be able to see it and make it, to grow it. And I think they know that story and they take pride in their job no matter what it is to be able to kind of live that kind of tradition that we have within the community.
Well, and again, that the fact that you just mentioned some of your employees who've been with you for so long, that just proves again that if they feel that they are learning, that they're growing, and that they're improving their professional development, they want to stay. So that's a great testament. You
mentioned growth, and that's a big thing because as a fast casual restaurant, they're not necessarily going to become the owners of the business, but what can we do to be able to keep them with us? And as we grow as a business, that was one of the biggest things. Well, now that we grow into food trucks, that we grow into retail, that we grow into shipping, it now creates these new opportunities for our management team to be able to grow within our organization as we grow.
Sonia, you have to wear multiple hats at
Yes.
Montano Wood Care Corp. So you have to watch your business and you also have to grow your business.
Yeah.
And you have to, again, develop strategies that are going to keep not only the company moving forward, but also continue to bring in revenue. So talk to us a little bit of how you juggle those responsibilities.
Well, this is really interesting because in this business, in Montano Wood Care Corp, I am the vice president, and practically I manage all the operations in the business, finance. And Wilfredo Montano, who is the president, he's on the field. So in the office, while he's on the field visiting clients or driving the truck, in the office, I am the vice president, I am the assistant, I am the accountant, I am all that at the beginning, different hats, until there is a moment that you realize you need to delegate and have other people in your office manage certain areas. It's very interesting because on the field, Wilfredo Montano, the president, he was involved in all the operational responsibilities. He was visiting clients face to face, and he was driving the truck. So I told him, we told him because we have an advisor too, you need to give up the truck. And he thought that he couldn't trust drivers, maybe because they are too young, they are too old, or it was an excuse not to give up the truck. And then he realized that we are a company that we were growing. And he realized that he had to delegate, and he was glad of that because after that we start flourishing.
Sometimes it's not easy to give up things that you've been doing for a long time, and also delegate, as you said, but also trust that you have brought in people that can do that job and free you up to do other things.
Exactly, and it goes in different situations, also because you are flooring or you never know what happened to you. Like also in my case, I try to teach like my assistant at that time, who is now office manager, what to do in case I am not there. And who knows, all of a sudden I lost my voice. And it took some time for my voice to come back, but I was happy that there was a person already trained to do the job.
Yep. Jill, you talked a little bit about the challenges of being, a solo entrepreneur, running your own business. You made a conscious decision, though, to go that route. Talk to us a little bit about what that decision looked like, what was the deciding factor, and as you've gone through your years as running your own business, what are some of the challenges that, you thought you never would experience and that you overcame?
Okay, thanks. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs, and it was always going to be going into my own business. That's what was modeled for me. And I think in the early days, I tried to hire somebody, or I did for maybe a couple of days, somebody that would come into my studio that I had at the time and work with me. And it seemed like it was always more efficient for me to do the work myself. And I, through all the people that I've been networking with through the past 15 years that I've been a member of the Business Council, I see the huge responsibility and the huge amount of work that it is taking on employees. It always felt simpler, easier, the kind of life that I preferred, to have that freedom and flexibility, not having employees. And frankly, 40 years in, I still love designing. I love working one-to-one with my clients, and there's no part of that whole, and I love business, so I'm an artist and a business person, and I really equally enjoy both, and I love networking, obviously, and there's no part of it that I wanted to give away, and it seemed like a simpler, easier life. So there was never too much of a pull towards growing beyond being a sole proprietor.
And when we talk about challenges, all of you have challenges in your businesses, but as a solo entrepreneur, you can't turn to the person sitting next to you to say, okay, how do we talk this through and get through this?
Right.
What's your process to go through some of those challenges?
Yeah, so that's part of partnering with other people. The Solopreneur Council of the Business Council has been tremendous.
Which you are the chair of?
Which I am the chair of, yes. Bringing together other like-minded people where we get to talk about things that are difficult for individuals working alone, and then bring in experts to have conversations. One thing that's been hugely rewarding is to see the enormous impact that sole proprietors make in Westchester County on the economy and in business. Just because we're one person running our own show, we make a difference. And I get to see that with so many of the solopreneur members of the Business Council.
Our topic today for this special edition from the BCW Podcast Network is business longevity. Peter, obviously the workforce changes. You have to bring in folks who have different skill sets. Since the pandemic, there's been that push and pull about working hybrid, working in the office. How are you and your partners dealing with that? And again, what are some of the recruiting skills that you use to bring in new blood to your company?
Well, first, I think the continued pull and push to deal with a remote workforce isn't changing. But what's interesting to me is, what we as business professionals know from our experience was how valuable the in-office experience was. Trying to communicate that to the next generation has become increasingly difficult because they don't understand what they haven't experienced. But what we're seeing is the people that have graduated in the last 3 years have a much more greater desire to be in an office than the people that were directly impacted with the COVID experience and not having gone to university, not having worked in an office. So it's changing, but I think the tension still is there about getting into an office 5 days a week. I believe that we're going to see much more of a hybrid workforce going forward. Maybe 4 days in the office is what I believe is going to happen. But the recruiting hasn't really changed much. I think the difficulty used to be that people didn't want to work in our profession. They felt that there was a lot of tension working for a public accounting firm. And I use the word public accounting firm. And I think what's happening right now is most of the public accounting firms, PKF O'Connor Davies being just one of them, are turning into more professional service firms. And we're differentiating in the marketplace by offering multiple services, not just accounting. And I think that's helping in the recruiting effort.
Our topic today is business longevity. This is John Ravitz, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer from the Business Council of Westchester. We're going to take one more break and then come back and continue to ask our panel questions on, again, how their businesses continue to grow in Westchester County and the region.
Business longevity, an expert discussion on a special edition of the BCW Podcast Network. We'll be right back. Back to a special edition of the BCW Podcast Network, a discussion on business longevity with your host, John Ravitz.
Our topic today is business longevity, and we have a terrific panel. Christian Baca, the owner and operator of Walter's Hot Dog and Walter Hot Dog Trucks. Peter Baum, a partner at PKF O'Connor Davies. Sonia Montano, the Vice President of Montano Wood Care Corp. And Jill Singer, the owner of Jill Singer Graphics. Gene, let's talk about, and you mentioned it before, and I think it's just such a cool thing to think about, that when your grandfather started the business and now you and your family members are continuing that legacy, there's a lot of responsibility with legacy, not only to your family, but to your employees, but also to the community at large. Talk to us a little bit about how you, your sister, and others are really honoring that legacy and, again, trying to continue to grow what your grandfather started.
Yeah, so, for as long as I can remember, my great-grandfather Walter started the business in 1919. My grandfather Gene came into the business and really took it over and owned it for almost 70 years before he passed away. And, it's myself, my two sisters, and my mother, part of the third and fourth generation, but it had to do with his love, my grandfather Gene's love and passion and commitment to the business. He loved it so much, and I think that's what resonated with customers. They saw the love, they saw the passion in what someone was doing and the product that they were putting out for the community to enjoy. So for us, seeing that type of love and passion in him and what he was doing just attracted us to the business. And not only to, get involved in the business, but to grow the business, because we think it's great. We think it's a great product. We think that, what the business has done over the years is something that more people should enjoy. So what could we do? How can we get it into the hands of more consumers? So that's really, almost 10 years ago when we decided to take on the food trucks. It's something that I'm so proud my grandfather got to see before he passed away, because he wanted to see it. So to think that we started that concept in 2007 and then we launched it in 2015, and to see how we've grown over the years, it's just another avenue of being able to grow the business by being able to take this restaurant now on the road and bring it to people for specific events, for catering. To be able to now grow on a retail and shipping level, that's really has to do a lot with COVID. There was a time when, a lot of restaurants were shut down, people were in isolation, so shipping food across the country became so big. So we partnered with a company called Goldbelly to be able to get our products to customers nationwide. And that really led a whole new business division. So again, if my grandfather could think that people in California or Alaska or Hawaii are cooking our hot dogs in their home, it's just mind-blowing to us. But again, it has to do with the passion and love that he had, what we saw and recognized, and then the follow-through in it.
Well, again, the story of Walter's is a great one for Westchester County and for the region, and the fact that you've been able to honor your great-grandfather and your grandfather is so impressive. Sonia, similar to what Gene talked about in terms of his family has had to go through a succession plan. Obviously, Montero Wood Care Corp has also developed a succession plan, and we could spend hours talking about how that happens, but what are some of the core principles that you have looked at to implement that type of succession plan?
Well, first of all, we always spoke with our advisor, and they always talk about a succession planning. And succession planning takes a long time. And in our case, Wilfredo and I, my husband and I, we were teaching Willie, my son, Willie Montano, how to learn the business. Well, how to learn, what to learn from the business. He started in the office, like working and learning human resources, marketing, bookkeeping. But soon, he liked the business because he saw how we started in the business. He saw that we started from the garage, and then we are now having 20 employees. he has seen all this transformation, and we have a passion to provide high-quality services of wood and metal restoration to our customers, and he sees that. So then Willie is now working in the field, and he learned, and he was supervising the workers in the field, the teams, the technicians. And after some years, he really is now very involved in the company. He was going side by side with his father, which I have to admit is not easy. Mm-hmm. They are two generations with different perspective, but everyone make it work.
Well, and that's important because obviously having that family tie is important, but also having the goals that every generation agrees should happen to move the business forward. It makes that a somewhat easier transition.
Exactly. And it's important because they are two different ideas which are good for the company. And now Willie is the director of operations.
That's great.
And he manages the teams on the field, and he has learned the different areas of Montano, and he's ready to lead.
That's a wonderful story. Peter, as you end the calendar year 2024 going into 2025, obviously, again, your firm has specific skill sets that are needed for your clients, but what are some of the goals that your firm's looking for in 2025?
I think growth. Yesterday, the firm announced a strategic investment in our firm from PESP, which is a Canadian pension plan, and InvestCorp. And I think that's going to be a huge impetus for us to grow even greater. So I think 25 is going to be a good year. I think we're going to see a lot of business growth both internally within our firm and I think in the marketplace.
And more opportunity for people who are getting into the profession to learn from a firm that has a proven track record.
Correct.
Well, that's terrific and it's exciting. Jill, we're gonna close with you, but you've talked about the challenges, you've talked about the decisions you made to decide to be a solo entrepreneur and run your own business. If you're sitting across the table from someone who thinks that they have that fire in the belly to do what you've done for the last 40 years, what are some of the basic advice that you're giving them?
Thanks, John. First and foremost, of course, join the Business Council and be an active member. I would say network as much as possible, build relationships, work on getting to know the individuals that you meet. A great thing has been making introductions. So when I go out to network, my focus is not on getting new clients, but on making introductions for other people and referrals. Definitely volunteer, definitely definitely partner with a nonprofit. I would say figure out what you're really good at, something that's valuable and unique, and focus on that and communicate that expertise. And of course, market like you mean it. Have a plan, have a marketing plan, and make that happen.
So important. Our guest for this episode, this special episode from the BCW Podcast Network, sponsored by Tompkins Community Bank, have been Christian Baca, the owner and operator of Walter Hot Dogs and Walter Hot Dog Trucks, Peter Baum, a partner at PKF O'Connor Davies, Sonia Montano, the vice president of Montano Wood Care Corp, and Jill Singer, the owner of Jill Singer Graphics. I know I speak for everyone in the BCW team how grateful we are for the commitment that each of your businesses have made to Westchester County and to the region and to New York State. And it's going to be exciting to see the growth in all of your businesses in 2025. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your insights on business longevity. This is John Ravitz, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for the Business Council of Westchester. Please tune in for the next episodes that will be coming up through the BCW Podcast Network.
This has been a special edition of the BCW Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the BCW Podcast Network's expansive lineup of shows: Leadership Unleashed, Advocacy and Politics Unplugged, The Member Spotlight, and WIN, the Innovation Roundtable. The Business Council of Westchester is the county's largest business membership organization, focusing on economic development and advocacy. With over 1,100 members, it is our mission to work for the profitability of our members and the prosperity of the Westchester community. To learn more about the Business Council of Westchester, go to thebcw.org.